Welcome aboard, Nakama! You're watching Sailing on the Grand Line, the only channel that dives headfirst into the wildest waves of the One Piece world. Today's breakdown is absolutely insane. Luffy just yeeted an admiral like a baseball, Bonnie's popping off with some age-warping chaos, and the Egghead battlefield is spiraling into absolute madness. Oh, and did we mention that one of the Gorosei is about to descend from the heavens? This isn't just another skirmish, this is the beginning of something huge. From Zoro's fierce duel with Lucci to Luffy turning into a walking light bulb after eating an actual laser beam, we are covering every jaw-dropping second with all the energy and hype it deserves. So, tighten your headbands, grab your devil fruit snacks, and let's set sail into this explosive episode recap of One Piece 1126. You won't want to miss a single frame. It all happened in the blink of an eye. Luffy had caught Kizaru mid-air and was about to squash Nami like a titan, pausing just in time to apologize, claiming he might have been binge-watching King Kong vs. Godzilla a little too much lately. Kizaru was left stunned. He wasn't expecting this to happen at all. The kid had grown, really grown, but Luffy wasn't backing down. "I'm not handing over the apple guy to you," he declared boldly. With a laugh and a twist, Luffy spun Kizaru like laundry in a washing machine. The Admiral's brain did somersaults as Luffy wound up like a pitcher and launched him into the stratosphere. Literally. The Straw Hats were left in awe, watching their captain burst into laughter while Brook, ever the skeleton with a sense of timing, remarked, "I finally got to see Luffy's new form with my own eyes," before chuckling, "and I don't even have eyes." Nami, however, had no time for gags. She was ready to stomp Luffy's face into the ground and yell for everyone to make a run for it. Chopper chimed in, urging caution as they needed to safely move Robin and Stussy. Edison offered a solution. They had a stretcher ready. Out of nowhere, Vegapunk's eyes widened. He spotted Bonnie. She was beaten up, but considering she had just been blown up by the barrier, she was doing surprisingly well. Atlas was already racing ahead, determined to retake control of the pacifistas before the barrier dropped and bullets started flying. Edison agreed, emphasizing that nobody managed the pacifistas better than the Vegapunks themselves. Before she could leave, though, Vegapunk asked Atlas to wait, and to take him with her. Then came Usopp's voice, yelling that Vegapunk couldn't go. According to him, the Navy was only attacking to cancel the old man's retirement benefits. But Vegapunk had his own concerns. He barked at Frankie, pointing out Bonnie's condition. Frankie was stunned to hear she was even alive after Kizaru's devastating kick. "How could a grown-up like you let a kid get kicked like that?" the old man snapped. With decisions made, Vegapunk planned to team up with Atlas while Edison worked on the barrier systems. Then Sanji called in, and the moment he heard what happened to Bonnie, he literally burst into flames. There was no way he'd forgive Kizaru for what he did. Jinbei relayed that they'd already grabbed Vegapunk's equipment and would meet at the back exit. As the old man activated his jet boots and took flight, Frankie sulked, feeling guilt for not protecting Bonnie. Lilith clapped him on the back, telling him to stop crying over spilled milk and to go help instead. She'd handled things from her end. With a sharp bodybuilding pose and renewed resolve, Frankie dashed off, shouting for Lilith to take care of the Sunny. Lilith couldn't believe Luffy had taken down Kizaru, but what shocked her more was Frankie's words. "Our captain will never be defeated." Meanwhile, Navy soldiers scrambled in chaos. One stopped, thinking he'd heard something. But before he could investigate, his captain told him to move. That gave Bonnie the chance she needed. Switching to her child form, she grabbed a steel rod, leapt into action, and cracked one soldier across the head, de-aging him into a baby. She pounced on the rest, transforming enemies with every blow. Into toddlers, geriatrics, whatever her power deemed fit. When one soldier tried to yell her name, she smacked him silent. Transforming back into her adult form, Bonnie sprinted toward the remaining soldiers. Even their weapons couldn't resist her. She aged swords to the point of rot. Cornered at one point, she morphed back into a kid and made the Marines attack each other. She dodged a point-blank shotgun blast and reversed her attackers' ages in a blink. The Marine captain finally gave a brutal order: stay clear of the city center. Jewelry Bonnie's manipulating ages. Shoot to kill if found. Bonnie had barely taken a breath before hearing another soldier yell they'd found her. But it wasn't her, it was Sentomaru. Charred, collapsed on the ground. Seeing him triggered her memory. She survived only because Big Mac had caught her mid-fall from the barrier, urging her to run as the Navy closed in. She had hoped she could hide just long enough for this storm to pass. Elsewhere, inside the Lobstrato, Zoro was hollering about being ready to leave. Rob Lucci appeared like a shadow and told him to stop interfering. Lucci began flickering around, switching positions to disorient Zoro, but it didn't work. "I can smell you from a mile away," Zoro sneered, dodging a vicious swipe. Claws met blade as the two clashed fiercely. Lucci relied on armament hockey to deflect every slash, but he didn't expect Zoro to literally spin like a Beyblade and drill him into the ground. Granted, it was cloud ground, but the point was made. From the sidelines, Luffy offered to help, but Zoro waved him off. "I don't need help with a smelly, horny cat. You handle Kizaru." The duel intensified, with neither able to land a solid hit. Then Zoro's aura flared as he activated his Conqueror's Haki. "If that's all Mutt can do, he's nowhere near a match for the captain," Lucci laughed. "Didn't expect anything less from a Yonko's right hand," he replied, before taunting Zoro. "Let's see how long the Jaguar survives." As Zoro battled Lucci, Kizaru was still being tossed around like a ragdoll. Near orbit, near sea, he'd had enough. He hit Luffy with a Yasakani no Magatama, then suddenly appeared behind him using some sneaky Shadow Clone Jutsu-like move. Luffy blinked. Did I drink too much passion fruit tang, or am I seeing Kizaru clones? Ducking and dodging, Luffy knew one hit would reduce him to soup. A light bullet grazed him, prompting him to unleash a Rubber Dawn Whip, but it only hit a clone. Another barrage came. Luffy had no choice. He activated his Colossal Titan mode. Kizaru visibly sweated just remembering it. With one slap, Luffy obliterated half the clones. He lunged for the rest, but Kizaru chuckled. Bigger targets easier to hit. What he didn't expect was Luffy blowing all the remaining clones away with a puff of air, deflating them like party balloons. The clones regrouped. Luffy still couldn't tell which was real, but it didn't matter. He was just messing with Kizaru, planning to take them all out at once. But the real Kizaru was already 3 moves ahead. He teleported inside the lab and grabbed Usopp by the lips. "Where's Vegapunk?" he growled. The crew saw the old man and Atlas speeding off in a weird little toy car. Sanji joined them. Vegapunk, ever focused, insisted they had to save Bonnie. Then confusion struck Sanji. "Why do you keep calling Bonnie a kid? She's like 12. This is weird. Hello, FBI?" Atlas told him to stop talking and just cross the bubble and hop in. With that, Kizaru dropped Usopp and resumed his mission. Luffy yelled after the old man, warning that he'd get killed if he left now. Then, it happened. Kizaru charged a light beam and fired. Luffy didn't dodge. He ate it. Yes, he ate the light beam, like it was nothing on him. The Straw Hats were only mildly surprised. Meanwhile, Frankie returned, yelling for Lilith to use the Frankie Shogun to carry the Sunny. He hitched a ride on the remote-controlled car while Luffy regretted his choices. Light was now shooting out of every hole in his body. Vegapunk gave the signal. Edison deactivated part of the barrier just long enough for them to pass before reactivating it. Then the old man triggered a thick wheel and drove upside down on the Cloud Road. A Marine spotted them and warned HQ. The scientists had escaped. The pacifistas readied their big bazookas, but Atlas popped out and announced a new order. From Vegapunk himself, eliminate all Navy soldiers on the island. Immediately, the pacifistas stopped aiming at the Straw Hats and turned their weapons on the Navy. The soldiers never saw it coming, but neither did the Vegapunks, because someone else, something with even greater authority over the pacifistas, had just arrived. And with that, the episode ends on a chilling note, because what's coming next is no ordinary threat. A supernatural presence is about to descend upon Egghead. The pentagram is forming, and from its center comes one of the 5 elders, the divine warrior of science and defense. Saturn is arriving. Brace yourselves. If you want the next breakdown the moment the episode drops, comment One Piece 1127, smash that like button, and subscribe. There's nothing wrong with hoping. Don't miss the video on the screen though, it's insane. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.